Welcome to What's Your Mission, where we're dedicated to sharing, learning, and growing for the betterment of our personal lives, our society, and our planet. Today kicks off our series called Go Out on a Whim, where community members can gain insights and intimate knowledge of the missions of other community members, entrepreneurs, and small businesses. Our hope is to inspire action and for you to be engaged in your personal missions, as well as the missions of the community around you. Welcome to What's Your Mission, where we're dedicated to sharing, learning, and growing. Today I have Danielle Lewis with me. She's a part of our Orlando community, and you've probably seen her around. So she's making a lot of waves in iOS development, and I'll let her introduce herself and share more about herself.
Yeah, hi, my name's Danielle Lewis. I just recently switched careers into software development last year. And since then, I've developed and published 10 apps in the App Store. I've spoken at international conferences, and I really started to develop a passion for helping people who look like me get into a field where we're not as represented as I would like us to be.
Yeah, awesome. And so, as you just heard, she just mentioned that she switched into iOS development. So let me ask you, what made you switch into iOS development, and what were you doing before?
Yeah, so I always had a passion for technology, but I was never really kind of pushed in the direction of software development by anybody who had any type of influence over my life. Nobody suggested that I should consider this as a path, even though I kind of showed interest and passion for technology in general and computers from the time I was a kid. But after I saw WWDC in 2023, where Apple announced the Vision Pro, I was really inspired by that product announcement. I thought it was the coolest thing I had ever seen, and I had already been floating trying to learn how to code, but didn't really know where to start. And that kind of gave me the place like, hey, I want to learn how to build products for this platform, and what are the steps I need to take to get there, and kind of started me off on this whole journey.
Yeah, so it sounds like you just pushed yourself into it.
Yeah.
So that's awesome to hear.
Yeah. And what I was doing before, I was actually managing medical cannabis dispensaries. Before that, I was a law student, so I've definitely gone through a few different just career paths, trying to figure out something that'll stick, and I definitely think I found it.
That's awesome. All right, so in your introduction, you talked a little bit about speaking at a conference, and let's talk more about the conference as well as any other community-related activities that you've done in tech.
Yeah, just trying to be more involved in the community. I started networking really early on. About a month into learning, I knew I needed to meet more people who did the thing that I'm trying to do. Ask them questions, pick their brain, get their advice type thing. That was really beneficial for me. It led to me actually doing my first workshop, which was an incredible experience for me, just getting to kind of speak to a room of people who may not have had any experience in Swift development, or maybe a little bit, and we're looking for some guidance. And we all built an app together and got to use a finished product at the end of it, which was really, really cool for me. And then conference speaking, again, trying to get more into public speaking and speaking in crowds. But that was in Paris, France. So that was a completely different demographic, a completely different country, continent. And that was a really cool experience for me, for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you have the link to the video, right?
Yeah.
So we'll definitely link that somewhere so that we can share that, and so that you guys can see her greatness and see the progress and all the things that she builds and stuff like that.
She's given me a lot, but yeah.
All right, so you definitely mentioned you hit on, I think you kind of hit on being, networking and kind of being a support system and showcasing your skills and sharing your skills with other people through a workshop that you did specifically with Bot. That's what you're talking about. Yeah, so let's talk more about how important it is for you to share your knowledge and be a support system for other people who look like you, who are already in the space, who are trying to enter the space. What does that mean to you? Why are you doing that?
Yeah, I mean, it was something that I wanted when I was coming up myself not that long ago. I couldn't find people who looked like me who were doing iOS development. I found, a few throughout this journey, obviously, but as far as people who are creating content, people who are have their faces out there, who are putting content out there. There were not a lot of people who looked like me. And without the people who were doing it, without the content creators, the YouTubers, the course instructors, I would not be here today. I would not have been able to gain all the knowledge that I have to be able to accomplish the things that we were speaking about earlier. So I want to be able to give back in that way, to provide a face for people like me who are looking for somebody who looks like them. If I can be that, then great. Somebody, coming up after me won't have to go through, the struggles that I went through, and just trying to find some relatability in the industry.
Yeah, I definitely relate to that. I'm not an iOS developer, I'm not a developer at all, but just being in the data science field, it definitely is hard to find people and meet people and have that support system of people who know what you're going through, who have been through what you're going through, and just so that you're taking that step to find people who look like you, who are on the same journey, and putting yourself out there to just be that support system is super important. So are there any ideas or any ways that you feel like you can also be a support system to other people or reach out to people? Do you have any goals related to that, or still?
Yeah, just more so doing more speaking, getting more out into the community. One thing that I did realize was that growing an online following is great, because you're being able to, connect with people from all over the world, which is an incredible thing. But there's something special about getting in person into your direct community. So I definitely want to do more work with BOT, with Black Health Commission, with other organizations that are doing the work that I'm interested in doing already, and seeing how I can be an asset to them.
Yeah, that's awesome, and I'm so glad to hear that you're partnering with other organizations, because I know we chatted previously to this conversation. You just heavily mentioned that you can't do things alone, and it's super important to have a support system.
Absolutely.
And just to not go through things alone. So it's nice to hear that you're partnering and working with Black Health Commission as well as BOT, Black Orlando Tech. All right, so let's switch gears. I know you're a sports person, sports fan. You're into basketball.
Yeah.
I'm not whatsoever, but I'd love to hear more how you got into basketball and what impact that is making on your life.
Oh yeah. I still remember the first time I ever picked up a basketball. I was 5 years old.
Dramatic, but okay.
No, for real. I was 5 years old. I was at a cookout for my family. They had a little hoop in a concrete, and I shot my first basketball, and it was an incredible feeling. I didn't realize at the time, but it has been a part of my life my whole life. It's always been something I can go to, either solo or just finding other random people in a park somewhere and just jumping into a game. It has absolutely had a positive impact in my life, just kind of giving me a positive, active hobby, just to kind of help me with my mental health, my physical health, and just being social as well.
So it sounds like that helps you in a lot of other aspects in your life.
Absolutely.
I guess since basketball and technology is such a huge part of your life, do you find any crossovers between the two, or not really?
I've been trying. So there's a lot of data and analytics in sports and basketball, especially a lot of advanced data. So it's something that I'm really curious about getting into. I've also tried to figure out how to make an app that involves basketball some kind of way. It's hard because they're all games, but I kind of want to figure out a way to bridge those two interests, and show it on my portfolio. But we haven't gotten there yet. I haven't figured it out.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I would say, that sounds interesting enough for me to help, but I don't play basketball. But yeah, that sounds cool. More so on the strategy of doing something challenging. I'm sure probably basketball is in your nature at this point. All right, so with basketball, I'm sure initially when I think you said you were 5 when you shot your first hoop or whatever. Yeah. I'm sure initially or at least at some point in your basketball journey, you weren't super great at some aspect, whether it be 3-point. What do you call it? 3-point free throws or something like that?
Shots, yeah.
Gotcha. Something like that. So was there any moment where you were struggling at doing something in basketball where you like it helped you like you were able to get through a challenge or like build up grit, and have you used that technique or something like that in the tech space? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. And I mean, it's pretty much the same thing. I'm still not great at basketball. No, I'm still not great at basketball. Just the same way that, you know, even through all the coding and all the practice and all the work that I'm doing, I'm still not great at that, in my mind at least. There's always going to be room for improvement. And I think kind of learning or getting out of that mindset of things have to be perfect before I do them at a very young age may have kind of helped contribute to me being able to be really bad at coding. Like one of my mantras at the beginning was it has to be really bad before it can be decent. And making sure that I'm okay with looking at the work and hating it, knowing that it's kind of part of the process. In the same way that, you know, when I was 10 years old, like I couldn't shoot a shot, or I couldn't do a layup. I definitely couldn't dribble with my left hand type thing. But over time, it gets better. And I think it's kind of the same thing with learning any new skill.
That's something that I'm learning right now. Like perfectionism. It at a young age it seems nice and cool, but it's not when you get older. It makes everything 10 times harder. So maybe I should have took up basketball when I was younger or something. But yeah, so it's nice to hear that there is like some type of bridge between your love of technology as well as basketball. And then let's kind of talk about some of your New Year's resolutions, because I know you have some, maybe not quite formed yet, I don't know, but I know you already mentioned like the 10 apps that you hit. That was your 2024 goal. So you can mention that now, and then let's talk about your 2025 goals.
Yeah, no, I actually hit every goal that I made for myself in 2024, which is like incredible to say. And I didn't know how that was going to happen, you know, at the beginning of the year. You know, this time last year, I was just kind of writing stuff down that I wanted with no plan, and to see it all come together because I had goals and I was kind of staying focused on what can I do today to further this goal. And at the end of the day, it worked. So that's something I'm really proud of. Like, one of my goals was the 10 apps. One of my goals was to make it to that conference. I had health issues. I had to get my health together this year. It was really a year for me. So to have accomplished everything that I accomplished, getting a job, starting my YouTube channel, just all these things that I wrote down, to see them come to life was really incredible. So I definitely am writing some even crazier things down for next year, just to see, you know, just for science. But yeah, like I have a money goal for the App Store next year, whereas this year I wasn't focused on making a dime. I wanted to have 10 apps because my goal was to get a job, and I wanted apps for my portfolio. And people always said you have to ship an app to the App Store, but I know that today's job market wasn't what it was in the past, so I kind of multiplied that and said, okay, well, I'll really stand out if I put 10 apps on the App Store. So that was my sole goal. I didn't care about them making money. I didn't care about anybody downloading them. It did happen just kind of as a, you know, cause and effect, but I'm really, really excited to push myself even further to make a new goal, which has and requires a completely different skill set, which is actually making money off of the apps that I push to the App Store next year. So I'm excited for that. And, you know, a lot of the other goals I'll keep to myself, but that one is definitely something I'll be working on more publicly.
So with those goals for the apps, are you looking to add more apps to the App Store, or are you looking to monetize what you already have there? Yeah,
definitely. So I was kind of focused on quantity last year, and I want to create an app next year that's kind of the one app that I focus on. Like, I kind of want to find an idea that I like and that I put, you know, a year's worth of work into and see what can come out of that. Just to do something different than I did last year. Instead of quick, fast, and just showing what I can do, like, let's try to create a project and put time and care into it and see what the differences between those two methodologies like are.
That's an interesting take. I like that. And I do it like, maybe it's for my personal interest, but how, like, I mean, I've had goals for this year, and I've accomplished like 75% of them, plus like some more that weren't goals really. But like, how did you stay consistent? Like, what helped you stay consistent? Do you have people around you that helped you like push you when you were like, nah, this is not gonna work?
Yeah, for sure. I have an incredible partner who is absolutely like the one person who pushes me, who takes care of me, like make sure that I am not sabotaging myself and my own goals, like keeping me on track. And also just the community and my own just sense of, I won't say like ego or pride, but like when somebody tells you that something's crazy, like it makes you just kind of want to do it even more. Yeah. So just the people who told me that that was like a ridiculous goal or that I was doing it wrong or whatever, like I set out to I got a job, you know, like, so being able to say that and just like a little bit of pride.
Yeah.
But also just, like I said, I was going through health issues and I didn't really have an option to me. Like it was either wallow in, you know, despair or get to work and like figure out how to turn this into a positive. Yeah. And that's exactly what I did. Like the time that I spent not really being able to do anything else but lay in my bed and code, really, I don't think I would have been here without that time. So just being able to flip like a really negative situation was really important to me.
Perspective.
Too. Yeah.
Because I mean, like any situation is just a situation. It's like your mindset determines whether it's viewed as good or bad. And you took it something that's challenging that most people would view as, I mean, I still wouldn't view as good, but I mean, like you took something that was challenging and you made the best out of it, like clearly. So are there any calls to action that like, that you'd like to share with the audience that can help you accomplish your goals for 2025, or just accomplish like your overarching goal of like being a support system for other people in technology?
I mean, I think first, my call to action is more for like the people who are interested in this, who are maybe like holding themselves back for whatever reason, is to just do it, you know, like it's supposed to be scary, it's supposed to be hard, but do it anyway and just sharpen that muscle and then we'll find each other. Like if you're putting yourself out there, if you're doing it, especially in iOS, like we will find each other. So if I can be a support to you, you're putting the work in, you know, contact me, reach out. I would love to help in any way that I can and I have the capacity to. So for sure that, just do it.
Yeah, Nike.
Yeah.
So how can, like you just mentioned, your call to action and just how you're basically opening your door to people who are putting in the work and willing to put in the effort. Yeah. But is there how can people find you? LinkedIn, social media?
Yeah. Probably Blue Sky these days is the easiest way to get in touch with me.
See, I don't even know what that is. So you're gonna have to give me a link or whatever.
Yeah, no, Blue Sky and LinkedIn are probably the easiest ways to get in touch with me. I'm not on Twitter as much these days. You know, there's some unfortunate stuff going on over there, but but yeah, Blue Sky and LinkedIn are probably the easiest ways to get in touch with me.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.